Hello, beautiful community. I am so excited to connect with you all today to discuss the next lunation, which is going to be one of two Virgo new moons that we're going to have this year. So the first one is going exact on Saturday, the 23rd of August, 2:06 a.m. Eastern Time, if you care for the exact time. And so the sun and the moon, the luminaries, are coming together at 0 degrees and 23 minutes of the mutable earth sign of Virgo. And I feel this is a really important check-in point as we kind of approach the tail end of this year of the serpent, the snake of the Chinese lunar zodiac, this year 9, this hermit year in the tarot, as we kind of, there's a lot of energies closing out, and with that comes a lot of potential for feeling into instability, uncertainty, those brave leaps into the unknown, and all of the kind of feelings, that feeling of being on the brink of something. All of those things can stir up within us a lot of feelings. So a great point to really check in with ourselves. And in this video, I'm going to kind of share some teachings on the sign of Virgo, because I feel it's really up for us as a collective right now. It's really calling us in to a deeper part of ourselves as we feel like the swirl and the chaos as we embark on eclipse season very, very soon, to kind of really have our feet solidly on the earth and our fingers on the pulse of the things that actually truly feed us and the things that are real. And I feel that this is a very, very important aspect of the archetype of Virgo. So I'm going to talk about that. And then also I'm going to pull a reading from this deck by Colette Baron-Reid, Goddess Power, to kind of allow us to kind of work with this potent goddess energy of the archetype of Virgo. So let's dive in. So Virgo is one of those archetypes. Most of them, I feel like, have been very mangled by current pop culture, astrology references, kind of meme culture, which is fun. I love that. But also, this archetype has really been done a great disservice to, in my opinion. So when we think about Virgo, we think like meticulous, we think type A, we think very organized, we think like a very like the Container Store, like organized sock drawer, which is such a diluted understanding of this archetype. And so Virgo is a mutable earth sign. It's ruled by the planet Mercury. And we'll notice that in astrology, Mercury has 2 signs that it rules. The first is Gemini, a mutable air sign, and then Virgo, the mutable earth sign. And there's a very different kind of flavor or expression of this planet Mercury in both of these signs. And Mercury in astrology is kind of known as a kind of very fluid, maybe having the quality of having both feminine and masculine energies. This sacred psychopomp who has the ability to kind of tunnel into the truth of a situation, kind of by gathering lots of different sources on it. We can think about the process of pollination as very mercurial in nature, gathering, sorting, analyzing, reconfiguring to kind of, but it's a paradox with Mercury and then its signs, Gemini and Virgo, is while that is true that there is an aspect of being concerned or interested in tending to the minutia, the details of situations. With Jupiter, we think about largeness, a big scale, kind of zooming out. And all of Mercury's signs in astrology are opposed by Jupiter's signs. So we hold this interesting tension of the smallness and then what is it for? Kind of contextualizing it or allowing ourselves to kind of be immersed in the system, in the pattern, to then give a greater system meaning or to actually synthesize something new, kind of all of these kind of theories about chaos and how like the butterfly effect, all of these small things, all these mercurial things actually create huge outcomes that we can't necessarily anticipate or predict or kind of use logic-based systems to understand where they're going to go. There's a kind of magical way that Jupiter quality comes in, and then the miraculous occurs, and it's just like life at some point is kind of miraculous. So when we think about Gemini, we think more about ideation, and we move into the sign of Virgo. Well, it's true that we have this interest in tending to perhaps details or kind of more subtle things, or kind of, again, this kind of in the pop culture astrology gets turned into like an obsession with a routine. But when we really kind of tune into the deeper spiritual shamanic understanding of what a routine is, it's a touch point where we are expressing our devotion. Devotion is a huge keyword when we're thinking about the archetype of Virgo. And so this Virgo new moon is a great point to kind of have a check-in with ourselves. Is devotion leading our life? And if it's not, that's okay, because this world is not designed for you to be living through primarily devotion and allowing devotion to lead the shape, the expression of your life. But a great moment to kind of check in, like what's real, what's important, what's worth being devoted to. And in the kind of swirl of this serpent year, 2025, there's a really interesting thing that I've been noticing going on, where in this kind of intense shaking off, initiating of new cycles energy, it might have actually been healthy to let go of devotion for a while, to maybe dip your toe into other ways of living life, maybe letting go of certain spiritual practices that at one point really fed you, letting go of certain ideologies that felt very tethered to you, and maybe you were subconsciously serving even when they weren't serving you, if that makes sense. There's a big emphasis with this Virgo archetype with kind of the flip side of devotion, or not necessarily the flip side, but a shadow manifestation of that can be kind of unvisited vows. So an important time to be observing the structure of our lives and seeing how that inherently reflects what we are committed to, just based off of how we're spending our time. What are we devoting ourselves to? Because we're always devoting ourselves to something. And so what was I speaking about? I kind of got a little swirled around there. Oh yes, the importance of the routine and a kind of recontextualization of what that means in Virgo. And so when we think about the card Mercury, not the card, the planet Mercury, and then the tarot card that corresponds, we think about the Magician, which on the Magician card, there's somebody who's raising their one arm up to the sky, the heavens, and one down to earth. And on this table in front of them, they have a pentacle, a wand, a cup, and a sword. They have each of the suits of the tarot representing the four elements, which are also obviously in the more gross manifestations on earth as the elements, but also internally in our psyches. We have access to all of these resources. And so with Gemini, we're thinking a lot. We're connecting dots, we're having ideas, we're conversing, we're communicating, we're being in the world. And then in Virgo, there's kind of an inherent dispersing of energy that happens in Leo season, where it's like the world's your stage, you're kind of experimenting with new modes of perception, feeling safe in your voice, and being seen for who you are. And it's kind of like a busy, naturally in the wheel of the year, it's a busy time, summer, and then Virgo comes and it's like, okay, back to school, but there's an opportunity to use that collective energy in a way that actually serves you and your spirit. And it's not just like a rote thing, like, okay, we're going back to school, and like that's kind of a depressing time of year. But it's a very inspiring, rejuvenating, life-giving time of year when we use it to reset our compass, to face true north, to recommit to the things that we are devoted to, and to really, maybe that's changed, and that's really cool. So this archetype, when we tend to Virgo tends to us. It is this archetype of the Earth Priestess, someone who is so, there's a stillness in Virgo. It's like, again, in Leo, there's like an expansion, like the heart's open. And then in Virgo, it's kind of like an integration point in the year before we step back into a more kind of relational, outward-facing yang sign, Libra. We're in this yin, earthy womb space, feminine space of Virgo, where we have the opportunity to slow down and kind of root, integrate, digest all that has come up through the summer months, and kind of having a more conscious experience of what has been harvested kind of assists in moving into the fall months, the months with less of that kind of heavy grief feeling. So yeah, I think that's all I'm being invited to share right now. Oh, and what I wanted to say is we're gonna have a second Virgo new moon this year on the 21st of September, I want to say, but let me double check. And the interesting thing is it will be an eclipse near the south node. So this is a really great, the 21st of September, we're going to have the second Virgo new moon. And it's interesting because this first Virgo new moon in August is, of course, happening 0 degrees of the sign. And then the eclipse in Virgo near the south node in September is happening at the very last degree of the sign. And so if you're aware of where the house of Virgo falls in your natal chart, a really great time to kind of check in and kind of be moving some energy in that specific area of your life. And it's kind of the metaphor that came to me is when we're about to like move houses. Maybe if Virgo is your 4th house, it's more of a literal like moving situation or something coming up around your ancestry or your family or your history during this eclipse season. So maybe it comes out more obvious like that, or if it's your 10th house of your career and your kind of purpose and legacy, maybe watch for that area of your life. But for this first new moon, a great moment to really slow down, take a deep breath, and reassess what is actually important and if your life is reflecting that. If your life is reflecting what is important to you. And yeah, so the metaphor is like when you're moving a house, it's helpful to first kind of get rid of all the junk, all the stuff that you don't want to bring with you. And so that kind of creates more flow to the moving process and kind of helps the energy. It's like we make a decision and then all of these forces kind of conspire to help the decision move forward and actualize and manifest if there is as little kind of debris as possible, if that makes sense. And so if there's an area of your life or a decision that you're ready to make or a project that you're ready to launch or some change that you're anticipating might be coming down the pipe, and again, check out the Virgo area of your chart. And if you want to book a reading with me, very exciting, I launched my astrology company, cblstr, which you can find and book with me to learn all about the Virgo area of your chart in addition to your entire natal chart, and you can really direct where this reading goes. So you can find it at cblstr.love. That's cblstr.love. So I look forward to seeing some of you guys in there. Super exciting. And so, yeah, this house moving metaphor, if you're anticipating some change happening that might in this eclipse season kind of come through very quickly, how can we, under this first Virgo new moon, really check in and be like, hey, what's the metaphorical junk? Do I need it? How can I move that energy and kind of assist the bigger cosmic waves that may be coming? Okay, Spirit, who is the goddess who is working with us under this first Virgo new moon? August 23rd, it's new moon in Virgo. What does the Virgo priestess archetype want to communicate with us? Aphrodite, beautiful. A goddess and energy, a divinity very much connected to devotion, primarily through Eros and Agape, through love. Is there another energy that we're being invited to work with? we got devotion, Parvati, exquisite. I'm gonna pull 3 more. We can have a council of 3. 3 feels good. And Hestia, home, beautiful. It's funny that I was using like the house metaphor, the moving metaphor. So we have Aphrodite with romantic love. We have Parvati with devotion, and Hestia with home. Okay, so immediately what this is bringing up in me too is how in the larger cycle, the synodic cycle of Venus, in her mystery of her journey of descent as the morning star, which she initiated in March of this year, and where each month the sacred planet Venus makes a connection with the moon and makes a conjunction, opening what are called Venus gates, rose gates, that kind of correlate with each of the chakra centers in our bodies. And so I think August 20th, yeah, so 3 days prior to this Virgo new moon, we're going to have the initiation of a new Venus gate. And with all of these pink energies, these Venusian frequencies, this rose energy too, with Aphrodite coming through very strong, with Venus being present here, she will be making a conjunction in the sign of Cancer, the cardinal water sign of Cancer, in the solar plexus center of our collective and individual bodies. And so the importance of devotion seems like such the right word, and that's beautiful that we got Parvati here supporting us to bring this kind of Cancerian maternal energy, love, into the solar plexus, which is like the will center, among other things. Confidence, feeling inherently worthy of being here. And so allowing whatever the Virgo area of your life is, rooting into a sense of home, into who you are at your truest sense, and then allowing, kind of softening the barriers around the heart, dropping into the heart, leading from the heart. Sometimes, again, this time of year, back to school, Virgo season, we can get really up in our heads. And although Virgo is the body, Virgo drops way down. If Gemini is up here, Virgo starts descending and putting down roots and drawing up the nutrients through the roots to the crown. So then it's kind of this cycle of Virgo, Gemini, Virgo, Gemini, Virgo, Gemini. It's kind of like a circuit that exists within our cosmic bodies, of where we have to receive nourishment in order to receive inspiration, kind of being tapped into that chord. And so how can you let love, a sense of being seated in yourself as the first home and the only true home that you'll ever have, and that it will never leave, and through this message feels connected to the kind of swirl of eclipse season. And under this first Virgo new moon, a really great opportunity to set our intentions for how we want to navigate this eclipse season, how we want to be when change happens, what are the values that we want to really hold on to, who are the people that we want to stay connected with as we navigate the unknown. So wishing you a lot of love under this Virgo new moon. Feel free to connect, start a conversation about what's up in your life or what you're noticing in the world. Astrology is so beautiful, and I love to share it with you, and it works amazingly when we kind of bring it forward and kind of share what's happening in our lives and build this community. I love that. Yeah, and feel free to book a reading. I'll link the website in the description box below. Much love.